Good afternoon. Hello, Salty. Good evening or good afternoon, I should say, everybody. Oops, something's not muted. Oh, I don't know what's going. Okay, sorry about that. I had tab open before I started the feed. So anyway, we had the hearing yesterday for the sentencing for James Brenner, and the lots of family were there. Hi, Cats Gallery. Hello, Melly Murphy. Welcome. Um, and so the courtroom was pretty full. The first three rows were pretty much family and a few court people, and then there was um, about three reporters and a few other spectators. So Jess says, I knew when I saw he struck a plea deal that we would not have a trial and may never know unless Candace speaks fully on it. What happened? So you wrote him, yes. And that was interesting. And some of what um, the prosecutor says about his sentencing report reflects um, what he said. I mean, reading between the lines of Jess's letters. Um, so in court, he had his attorney. I can't remember his first name. Nish was there speaking for him, and hello, Jen, Texas. Molly Murphy at Racing Star 2013. The camera, I thought the camera guy was from KTVX here in Salt Lake because I had ran into him at one of the Corey Richens hearings, but it was Court TV which posted the video first, so I was a little confused. Our source for the complete unedited one is from East Idaho News, who I know wasn't the one filming, but anyway, let's see. Um, okay, so let's get going here with the video. So here we are. You can see him. He looks like he's got his hair down. It's long. He looks like he's bebopping in for a shampoo commercial. And he's limping. He's shackled, manacled.
All right, welcome everyone. Now is the time scheduled for sentencing. There's two cases. Mr. Nish, the defense ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
Mr. See, we have Ms. Stell here also on behalf of the victims. Are you ready to proceed?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. There is a pre-sentence report that has been filed. Were there any matters that needed to be addressed prior to this?
Nothing from the defendant or everything's accurate.
All right. Mr. Nish, go ahead and I will hear from you first, and then invite your client to stand if he wishes.
Your Honor, as a matter of courtesy, I tend to, in these types of cases, like to defer to the families. If the families want to speak to the court, if that's okay, I'd like to make that difference.
Mr. Worrell, do you have any input on that?
Well, I mean, for the defense counsel, that's fine, but I think it's important for the family at least hear, if Mr. Bear has anything he wants to say, I think it's important for the family to hear that first.
This is telling you, but
We agree with that. We think that, and then if he has anything to say, we'd like to hear it first.
And that's fine, Your Honor.
all right.
I just, as a matter of courtesy, I'd like to make that difference.
All right, thank you. It is my practice generally to allow has to proceed first for that very reason expressed by plaintiff. Go ahead, that's over there.
Your Honor, there's not a lot to say from the defense on this. We reached a resolution with the state, all rule 11I conference with the court, wherein the client pleaded guilty is charged, is charged in the amended information to a second degree felony on the murder case, carrying a potential penalty of 1 to 15 years, and then as well as pleaded guilty in the other case with 2 counts of the possession of a firearm, also each carrying 1 to 15 years of second degree felonies. That plea deal was executed, the court approved it, and it carried with it terms and conditions that the parties agreed to. A couple of those terms and conditions were that the cases themselves, one sentence would run consecutively, which under the amended information plea deal that we made amounts to a maximum sentence under the law of 3 to 30 years. We anticipate that would be the court's ruling today. Also, it required that the client engage in recovery efforts of the victim in this case. As the court is aware, that was accomplished. Myself and my client, along with agents from the state of Utah and the federal government, went and successfully retrieved the remains of Dylan Rounds and brought them home to his family. My client did that. And what was interesting to me about that was it was something that my client had asked me about from almost the first day that I was brought into this case. I recognized there were other attorneys that preceded me in this matter. But one of the issues that was continually brought up in my client was he did intend and wanted to bring Dylan home. And he did do his end of that bargain, and those remains were returned. With that said, my client had asked me not to engage with the narrative of what happened in this case, and himself declined to make any statements to the court or the family. So with that, I'll submit to the court, please follow the recommendation of Rule 11 agreement.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brenner, I'm going to invite you, if you choose to understand what your attorney said, but I'm going to invite you, if there's anything you would like to say, you're welcome to do so. All right, thank you. Mr. Ward.
What we'd like to do is have 2 people address the court. I know you got a number of witness statements. We have Rhonda DeCare here, who has been asked by Dylan's mother, Candace Cooley, to read something to the court on her behalf. Then following her, we have Justin Rounds, Dylan's father, who would like to address her as well. So we'll have Mr. Carey first. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I misheard you. We're gonna have Justin go first.
Okay, sir, if you would, go ahead.
I didn't write any speech or anything. I didn't really even know what I was going to say until I got here. I mainly wanted to talk to Jim. And when this all started, when you got arrested, I asked the FBI agent kind of if you knew anything about your past, Jim, to see it. But I guess I was trying to figure out a way to forgive it. And then we went to where you laid Dylan, where you tried to bury him. And I asked the same FBI agent if you showed any remorse. And he said you showed no remorse whatsoever that he could see. And you just tried to blame everything on circumstances and whatever. Like I said, I didn't write it in the wall. I just want you to know what you took away. Not just from me, or his mom, or his brother, and his sister. You took away someone who was willing to be active in the society and contribute to society. As far as I can tell, in your whole entire life, you've never contributed to society once. Dylan helped you out so many times, whether it be hauling sugar beets or potatoes or whatever, and this is how you repay him. I just basically hope that you, for the rest of your life, can think about this. And if a 30 year comes about and you get out, it'd probably be the worst thing that ever happened to you, Jim. And in that time, this is hard. I just hope you the rest of your life, you remember what you did and what you did, and I hope sometime you feel some remorse or some guilt. That's basically all I have to say. And I wasn't gonna let you just come in here and limp like a little gimp and walk out with nobody saying anything to you at all. You don't have the balls enough to look at anybody in the eye or even look at anybody. Turn around and look at the people who you've affected. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Your Honor, my name is Rhonda DeCare, and I'm the founder of Missing American Network. And I'm here today to speak for the family and for Dylan Browns, a young man whose life was stolen from him at just 19 years old. For over 2 years, I've had the privilege of supporting his family through a journey marked by an unimaginable pain, resilience, and unwavering quest for justice. Dylan was no ordinary young man. He was a dreamer, a builder, a visionary. At an age when many are still discovering their path, Dylan had already charted his. He was transforming a piece of Utah desert into a thriving farm. Dylan saw potential where others saw barren land, and he nurtured dreams of creating a verdant sanctuary in one of the harshest environments. His spirit was as vibrant and enduring as the sunflowers he loved. And today, those sunflowers bloom all around the world as a tribute to his remarkable life. The brightness of Dylan's dreams was brutally extinguished. In the days following his disappearance, his family discovered his boots behind a dirt pile. A chilling sign that something was terribly amiss. Despite that critical clue, their pleas for immediate action were met with dismissive and heartbreaking response. Law enforcement not only failed to act with urgency, the situation demanded, but they also compounded the family's suffering by asking them to leave the property where Dylan was last seen. They were told their presence was irritating James Brenner. He was not even the property owner. He spent the time, after the family was forced to leave, cleaning up and disposing of items from the shed that was on the property. The family was convinced that evidence was being disposed of, thrown into a pickup truck, and being driven away. But their pleas fell on deaf ears because an individual who had an open warrant for his arrest, who subsequently confessed to this murder, was being irritated. That careless dismissal is a wound that will never heal. I could continue on the failures in the investigation, from the family being lied to right now, Dylan's remains being stored in a box on a shelf. I don't see any dignity in that, and I wonder how everyone else would feel if it was their son. Throughout these 2 agonizing years, I witnessed the family navigate a harrowing journey. They have fought tirelessly for Dylan for answers for justice. They became their own advocates. They were driven by love and the memory of the son whose life was taken far too soon. James Brenner, the man who took Dylan's life, was no stranger to his family. Dylan gave him work in the middle of nowhere. He paid him to work on his farm. Dylan's family knew James Brenner. He had done farming work in Idaho and stayed in camp there on their property. They had meals together. They were not strangers. Despite that relationship, not only did he commit the senseless crime of taking Dylan away from them, he intentionally prolonged their torment for 2 years by making them leave the property where Dylan was last seen, by hiding evidence, by trying to confuse the investigation by returning evidence. And ultimately, he only came forward with the truth so that he could cut a deal and reduce his sentence. His callous disregard for his family, these people who he knew personally, after doing something so devastating to this family, it had no consideration, no compassion, and no empathy for them at any time. That is who this man truly is. This was not an accident. This was calculated. And every action for 2 years since has been calculated as well, in an effort to try to get away with the cold-hearted murder of Dylan Mounts. The acceptance of a plea deal means that today the court will not impose a sentence. The plea deal brings some measure of resolution, but it does not ease the profound sorrow and the sense of injustice that this family feels. Dylan's life was worth more than any plea agreement can acknowledge. He was a young man with dreams that reached far beyond the horizon, and his loss has left a void that can never be filled. Dylan's life did not matter to James Brenner, but he mattered to me, a complete stranger. He mattered to Justin, Candace and Mike. He mattered to Colton and Brooklyn. He mattered to Terry, Denise, Larry, Karen, his dog Hank, the whole entire family. Dylan's life mattered to everyone, but not James Brenner. So, as I'm here today, I would like us to remember Dylan not just as a victim, but as a young man with boundless potential and a heart full of dreams. His legacy will live on with the foundation his family formed to help other families in similar situations. Though we cannot change the past or undo the pain, we can honor Dylan by ensuring that his story is never forgotten and by continuing to seek justice for all victims like him. Dylan's family, despite their unimaginable loss, has shown extraordinary strength and resilience. They have carried the torch of his dreams and his memory, making sure that Dylan's light will shine brightly, even in the darkest of times. Thank you.
Pointing out a few things on there. Much like Justin, I was curious to see what Mr. Brenner's reactions and his cooperation with the pre-sentence report, his demeanor in the courtroom today, hoping, expecting to see some remorse. And it was so frustrating and so sad to see that it is just totally absent from this pre-sentence report. Right out the gate, we have a note that he initially did not want to speak with the investigator, would not complete his pre-sentence packet. We read that he rationalized the offense, placing blame on the victim, does not appear to take responsibility for his actions. They note he poses a significant public safety threat as evidenced by his pattern of antisocial behavior. And certainly that's true. They note a criminal history that spans 4 decades. And over those 4 decades, we have a man who's engaged in numerous violent offenses over the years, leaving a wake of victims behind him. Truly, just sad, frustrating. I can't think of another adjective. But as if that's not bad enough, we get to the pro-criminal attitude aspect of it. It says, Mr. Brenner placed considerable blame for his current situation on the victim, taking no accountability for his actions, and even go on to quote him, saying, he shows no remorse or accountability for his behavior, stating, quote, I lost everything I own except land and a checking account. I'm not paying because a bastard broke into my place. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. We come before this court with a man, like I said, with a criminal history of 4 decades and a total lack of empathy for anyone and everything. And I think Justin said it best when we commented on just kind of that demeanor and behavior with all this. So sad to see that. And I'm glad we have, we were able to locate the body, return, Dylan to his family. But it did come at a cost. It came at a cost. And that had nothing to do with, trying to do the right thing or trying to help the family get some closure. It had everything to do with self-preservation. And that shouldn't be lauded. I'm glad we were able to bring Dylan home, but that's not something that we should, give Mr. Brenner credit for. It was a means to an end for him. That's what it's always been. And so it's just so sad. We have the recommendation, there's no surprise on the sentencing. It comports with what we talked about, the 3 years to 30 on the sentencing. And quite honestly, I think that Mr. Brenner will serve most, if not all of that, and he deserves to, quite honestly. I think his past has finally caught up to him. I feel so bad for what everybody's been through as far as the emotional roller coaster of the case and getting to this point finally. It's a relief we're finally here, but that relief doesn't do anything about the ultimate consequences. Dylan's never coming home. As I read through the letters and statements from people, my heart breaks. Talk about how the impact this kid, Dylan had on their lives, and just the positivity and the light that he brought to others, and that they'll never see that again. And you contrast that with Mr. Brenner, and Justin said it right, he's never contributed anything to society. It's such a stark contrast between Mr. Brenner and his take on things and Dylan, and yet one of them is in his courtroom living today. So sad, so sad. So there's not a lot I can say. I don't want to overshadow certainly what the statements or what statements we've heard here today say. That's the more important thing. But so with that, I'll defer to Your Honor. Again, just express my deepest sympathies. That's so cliche and overstated, but truly, just my heart breaks for the family and everyone involved in this. And with that, I'll stop.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I think what needed to be said about Dylan today has been said, that he was an incredible young man. He had his whole life ahead of him. He was a hard worker. He knew how to love, and he was loved. And so many people who loved him are here today, and they have fought for justice for him. I appreciate the word that the state used, disturbing. It's disgusting, and it's horrific to really witness and experience the lack of remorse. It's really quite evil, and Mr. Brenner has demonstrated that he's unredeemable. And I know that's as harsh, as we can say, but he's clearly made no effort to bring comfort to this family and to take responsibility. To this day, he blames this young man for what he did. Sometimes we need to make unorthodox requests and ask for difficult things. But I would ask that Mr. Brenner have to look back at the galley and look at who is here to support Dylan today. I know they will be respectful, but he needs to be faced with what devastation he has caused. And I would just ask that he be required to look back and view those who are here in support of Dylan today.
Thank you, Mrs. Town. Mr. Nish.
I would have a lot to say, Your Honor, had my client not asked me to be extremely respectful and to not go into the details of the underlying case in chief. I'll start by saying I appreciate the collegiality and professionalism of my colleagues. This is a hard case. It's a hard case for everybody. And just because we're defense counsel and we have a job to do doesn't mean that we don't also recognize the pain and heartache that goes on with the victims. In fact, we see it not as intimately maybe as Ms. Tell does, or the prosecutor to do, but we see it because we're actively involved in the things that happen in this case. And I join my colleagues in that extending condolences and heartfelt to the family. I would ask the court not to propose the request by Ms. Stell as it would be improper, and also, I believe, amount to some kind of an extrajudicial punishment of the statutes and laws to allow. That would just be the modern day equivalent of putting somebody in stocks, not the court. Other than that, Your Honor, there's a lot of things I'd like to say, and I'll hold my case and submit.
As I've read the information that the family has provided in the letters, and the things that Dylan accomplished in his life, and the drive, and the desire, and the things that he had to make life better, not just for himself, but for those around him, and the love that he had for life. This is not a proper ending for someone like that. And my heart does go out to the family for your loss and for having missed him. And we'll continue to miss him around you. It's a hard request, Mrs. Stone. And don't want to jeopardize this proceeding in that fashion. The one thing I will say is I will ask Mr. Brenner, if you would, I would like you to stand and I would like you to face them, if you would do that.
By then, Your Honor, I'd like to know who you mean.
Yes, the gallery.
Your Honor, is that an order, or was that a request?
It's a request. I'm asking if Mr. Brenner will do that.
Your Honor, I decline to respectfully, but I'll stand.
All right. Mr. Brenner, some of the things that were disturbing to me was that the family was looking for Dylan. You would come around, you would smile and talk with them, knowing full well what had happened, knowing full well what you had done, knowing full well where his body lay, and acted as if nothing happened. My request for you to turn and look at the gallery is similar to something like that. A simple decency. And I think the three words that I heard through the letters came through with what was described here: builder, dreamer, visionary. I don't believe you are those in any respect, Mr. Brenner. That's unfortunate. I wish I could do something more. I understand when this plea was offered and was taken, it was with the consent of the family in an effort to bring closure. So there is nothing more than I can do other than what has been agreed upon. Based on the 3 second-degree felonies, it will be the order of the court being served 1 to 15 years on each one of those. Those are going consecutive. I will give you credit for the time you've served only on those 2 cases, 171 and 110. No other cases. This is in accordance with the agreement, and I want to respect the family with that, and so I'm following that agreement. But I am going to recommend to the parole board that they keep you as long as they legally can. And that's my recommendation to the parole board. I think that's the only leave I have in this sentencing to offer the family. And with that, that will be the sentence. Anything further, Mr. Manchin?
Your Honor, I haven't heard anything beyond restitution. Have we seen?
So we would like to have notes, we would like to leave that open for a little bit because there may be, now that we have the body and working on funeral expenses and things like that, that will be forthcoming. So we would like to leave that open. I think the statute allows us a year, right?
It's a year.
So if that's okay, that's what we would expect.
In that case, Your Honor, I'll decline to withdraw as counsel today. I'll stay on as counsel for purposes of making sure the restitution is taken care of.
All right. Anything from the prosecution? Mrs. Stella, anything else? All right, once again, I wish the family the best. I know it's hollow, but I wish you the best. Good luck, all of you. That'll be everything. Thank you. Thank you.
Aiden was a young man who went
Court's in recess.
missing just a month before Dylan in the Nevada desert. And Mob Crew is another channel, and they went out searching for Dylan with drones, and they've been out a few times looking for Aiden Clune, and the last time they went out, they think they found his shoes. So I don't know. I think Brenner was kept up all night while Dylan was planting. Well, with that distance, it shouldn't have been from noise from Dylan planting, but he might have been up all night drinking, and then Dylan comes around early in the morning wanting to put the truck in the shed, and he's still drunk, hungover, etc. Things don't go well. Yeah, it's 5 miles, and the lights wouldn't really be visible from there. It's no, and he was looking a lot better. He thinned down quite a bit, and not being on the alcohol and so forth. So, um, yeah, Chris really has, and um, he's it's like, oh, we've got a cool spell, so he'll go out and look, because take advantage of the cooler weather when that happens. So anyway, that is the complete hearing. Um, an expert they had on from Court TV was saying that he probably won't get out, and wouldn't be getting out till he's 90. I mean, he's got to do his federal time, then he's got to do the state time, and those sentences are consecutive, not concurrent. So was it ever shown where Dylan's remains were found? He I trying to remember her name. Weezer, who seems to be local, uh, sent me a map. She also sent it to Warlike Wrath, who did an episode pinpointing where the body was buried. And I'd say I had to probably been within 50 feet of the spot when I came through the north entrance to the grain shed that one time. Well, thank you for coming, Molly. I'd love to hear your take as we get closer to the is Ellen Weezer? Okay. I'd love to hear your take, Molly, on Sarah Boone as we get closer. I think I'll probably in September start doing some Saturday lives and have Suitcase Sarah Saturdays as we prepare for the case. So, well, locals found it, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist. So, okay, different people. That's good to know. Thank you, Racing Star. So, oh, Weezer's the postmaster. Oh, I think I may have met. Yeah, I think I may have met it when I was out there. So, let's see. Well, I'm sorry. Well, okay, that's good. I love criminal psychology, so if you ever want to pop in on some of these cases, love to hear from you, Molly. So okay, well, Okay, Ellen Berg. Okay, let's be civil, everybody. Okay, I think that will wrap it up for today. But he's not going to be in any country club, and let's. So next week it will be Alex Baldwin will start having his jury selection, and they are trying to call Hannah Gutierrez Reed as a witness, but she doesn't want to testify, and I don't blame her, because if she wanted to preserve her right against self-incrimination, she shouldn't do so. And if there's some problem with the trial and it gets called back and she testifies in another hearing, it would be something that could be used against her. So it wouldn't be good. Oh, the family be having a memorial online. That would be great. I would love to see that, because I remember seeing the one for JJ and Tylee, and it was so touching, and I would love to hear all about Dylan, see photos of him that we may not have seen before. So thank you for joining me. Thanks, B, Marie, Badger, Molly, Racing Star, Jess, anyone else who happens to be here still. So candle and Etsy. Oh, candles. Yeah. I should get some sunflower seeds and plant them in my garden. So everybody, let's do that for Dylan. So wish you all a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.